It's a very interesting question. Motivation to stay in the market is we're building a sustainable business. And we believe in building sustainable businesses that are going to endure and be there over the long run. Going back to what you said originally as being prepared in the face of uncertainty, Kaizen was born in 2006. And 2 years after we were born, we were hit with the global financial crisis. And that hit us as a surprise at the time. And so because of that, we started becoming always crazy about what's going to happen next, what's coming, and trying to always predict the future with its challenges, positivities, negativities, in order to be more prepared in the face of uncertainty. So you would find us as the most prepared company, I would say, to any potential setbacks, market overturns, or any potential issues that might hit the market. The strategy during COVID, first and foremost, was making sure everyone remained safe, starting with our employees and customers. And that was really what was keeping us up at night. And if you remember at that time, there was a lot of uncertainty. Does the virus go through the AC vents? Does it go from apartment to apartment? How can you make sure the buildings and common areas are sanitized and clean to limit the spread of the virus? So our first and foremost focus was making sure our teams were safe and our customers were safe. And we've had many stories with customers that were struggling, where we were able to go in and help them. There were a lot of expats that were alone here that got either ill or had serious illnesses due to COVID. And we were lucky to be able to be there for them, to help them when there was no family around at the time. We visited a lot of them in hospitals. We visited some of them in their homes and made sure that they were taken care of. COVID was interesting, even though it was devastating for many industries. For us in the property management industry, first and foremost, we were able to build trust and elevate the trust between us and our employees and our customers. We were also able to make sure that we become more resilient in the face of future pandemics, more prepared in the face of future pandemics. I think also the stakeholders, be it customers, tenants, or landlords, started appreciating and understanding the role that property managers play whenever there is a natural disaster or a pandemic or any other issue that faces the human race. So COVID was devastating, but for us it was actually a good thing. It helped us become more resilient. It helps us build and enhance our trust between us and our customers. And it helped also landlords and tenants understand the role that property management play and how we can add value in the face of uncertainty. Yes, it was indeed a difficult situation, but I think we were blessed to be working with landlords who were really human. And COVID did something positive to humanity, even though I think a lot of it is forgotten now, a few years later, but we all became more human. We saw landlords put away their contract terms and their rigid contract terms and objective of increasing returns, and really becoming more human and trying to see how is it that we can help tenants. So our advice was to our teams and landlords is to really work together for the benefit of the community, first and foremost, to understand each case on a case-by-case basis. And whenever we could help, we were actually advising landlords to help and support tenants. And I'm happy to say that almost all of our landlords were actually very supportive and helpful to our tenants during those difficult times. So I would not say it was a really major struggle, especially when you're able to explain to landlords that this is a short-term situation and the benefit of being there for the tenant during these difficult times will actually pay a lot of rewards in the long run, because tenants will never forget that. And we see it today, a few years later, with the same tenants that requested a deferral on their payments or requested a waiver of certain fees. At the moment when we're going in to increase rents, even when we're asking them to increase the rents beyond the index that we have with RERA, they are accepting. Because they look back and they see that during difficult times, we and the landlords supported them. And at the moment when things are better, they're also in a way paying it back. So my advice is always be true to your values, be human first and foremost, and seek ways to understand, seek ways to add value to each other, and walk away from short-term thinking and always think long-term, because those are the winners at the end of the day, are people who think and execute over a long-term basis and not short-term. Does it scare me? No. But does that mean that we should not look at insights and not be more cautious? Also no. We need to be very cautious where we are today. We need to analyze the market, understand what's going on. We are in the third recorded real estate cycle for Dubai. There has been 2 other cycles previously where there was a lot of data. That's why I say recorded cycle. And it's very important to learn from the insights of the 2 previous cycles. Now, yes, you might say there are some similarities happening today in comparison with, say, the craziness of 2006, 2007, but times are completely different. The market today is a lot more resilient. The regulations today are a lot more resilient. There are a lot of regulations that limit flipping properties and speculation. The buyers who are buying properties today have a lot more holding power. We see a lot of tenants after completing an average of 4.5 years being a tenant in Dubai, converting to becoming a landlord. Now, those are long-term residents. Those are people who are building their life here, who are buying properties here. However, we do have to look at the 2 previous cycles to learn from that. And when we look at them, while we see some similarities, we also see some differences and some factors that will support or limit a correction that will happen in the market. The first factor is we continue to see positive immigration into Dubai. You can see it from the growth in school rates. There is a lot of data that is available, publicly available, for you to understand the growth in immigration and growth in school rates and growth in household count in Dubai. And a lot of people who are migrating into Dubai from other cities, other global cities, find Dubai very affordable in comparison with prices of other cities. And that sort of will support the market moving forward, as our prices are still lower than other major cities, yet we have a lot of factors today that are a lot better than other major cities related to safety. We are one of the safest cities in the world, ease of doing business, ease of bringing your family here, ease of visa processing and immigration. And a lot of these factors today have become negative points in other major cities around the world. So that's the first point that will support a correction, is we have positive immigration still happening in the city. And the second factor is we are in a very high interest rate environments. And usually in high interest rate environment, the real estate industry is affected. It's very rare to see a boom in the real estate industry while you also have high interest rates. However, we do know that we've hit the peak already of interest rates, and moving forward, the rates are going to drop, and that should also support any correction that will happen in the market. To summarize, in my opinion, today there are 2 schools of thoughts in Dubai. There is one school of thought that is more bearish, and they see the industry. They believe that there will be a correction, a large correction of 20% or more in the industry. That school of thought is usually based on a global recession that may happen around the world, because we can all see that there is still uncertainty around Europe, around a lot of the Middle East, and most of the world, actually. The global economy has still not fully recovered from COVID or post-COVID. So if a global recession happens, then we are likely to see a correction in the industry, a major correction in the Dubai real estate market. The second factor is oil prices. There has been a correlation historically that when oil prices drop, the overall industry, not just the real estate industry, drops. Not because of fundamentals, but it's more driven by investor sentiment. The investors believe that if oil prices drop, the real estate prices should drop, stock prices should drop, and a lot of that is driven by investor sentiment. So that's the first school of thought. It says that if a major correction was to happen, it will happen either because of a global recession or because of oil prices driving investor sentiments. The second school of thought that is more bullish on the market and believes that the market will continue to grow, or at least perhaps not significantly grow, but continue to grow. That school of thought is relying on two main factors. One, the geopolitical situation, because usually Dubai is seen as a safe haven when you have geopolitical tension in the area, not just in the Middle East, but also in the wider geographical area. And that school of thought believes that the market will continue to grow because we have tensions, geopolitical tensions around the Middle East. Now, historically, on a short-term basis, when there is geopolitical tension, the results or the effect is usually not very positive or not seen directly in the short run. However, in the medium term, you see a lot of growth when you have geopolitical tension. You see a lot of growth in Dubai. Not just in Dubai's real estate market, but also in other industries in Dubai and the UAE as a whole. And the second factor that, and the second school of thought that believes we will continue to stay bullish and the market will continue to grow, second factor affecting that is the potential of Dubai opening up for the gaming industry. And we've seen recently the announcement of the gaming industry and casinos in Ras Al Khaimah, which has driven a very strong boom in Ras Al Khaimah. Now you can only imagine what that would do to Dubai's real estate market if and when gaming is announced and casinos are announced. So you have to look at both schools of thoughts, the bearish school of thought and the bullish school of thought. You have to read data for yourself and make your own opinion of where the market is heading. And the beauty of Dubai today is Dubai has opened up a lot of its data. So you are actually able to make data-driven decisions in Dubai's real estate market today, unlike 10, 15 years ago. So I recommend and I advise investors, be it an investor who's looking to buy a single apartment or looking to deploy $100 million in Dubai's real estate market, to look at data, look at the insights from the previous cycles in order to make educated and informed decisions with their investments moving forward. I'd say competition hasn't changed between the old days and today. It was competitive back then, it remains to be competitive today. And Dubai is a very competitive market. Whichever industry you look at, it's a very competitive market. My answer will surprise you. I don't look at competition. Even in our chat before we started, we were discussing some other companies, and you could see that I'm not really aware of what the competitors are doing. I don't track what they're doing. I believe each company is playing in their own field. They've got their own strength and they've got their own strategy to follow. I know some of those companies follow each other, and in some cases you see a lot of companies similar to each other because they are in a way tracking each other. But I like to focus not on competition, and I say this to my team all the time. Forget the competition, focus on the customer. If we focus on the customer and we focus on the changing customer expectations. Now you have Generation Z coming into the real estate industry, coming in as tenants and also coming in as landlords. Their requirements are completely different than me and you. Their requirements are different than previous generations that are there. Their expectations are different. So we focus on that. And trust me, just focusing on the customer and the changing customer expectations is enough to keep you busy and keep you busy to try and serve these customers better and meet their changing expectations. So I always tell our team, forget the competition, focus on the customer, focus on serving the customers better. And if we do that, and if we're constantly predicting the changing customers' expectations, then we will by default always be ahead of the market. Back in 2016, no one had technology, including the companies that were 10 to 20 times the size of Kaizen. And we were a much smaller company back then. And we still made a decision to go ahead and start investing in PropTech, even though the largest entities in Dubai were not investing in PropTech. Now, if we were following our competitors, we would have probably done something completely different, depending on what they were doing, if we were following the big guys back then. But we realized that the future is going to belong to those who invest in tech for the purpose of enhancing customer experience. And we started back in 2016, actually putting all of our profits and some more into tech because we were laser focused on the customer. We were laser focused on the customer experience. We could see back then customers started using apps with banking and enjoying not going to the bank anymore. We could see back then Uber and the likes of Uber and Amazon have started, and we could see the customer expectations shifting. And we could see the youngest customers back then asking us, why don't you have an app? Why do I do a lot of things on an app and I don't do, with you guys, I still have to come to the office to sign a lease agreement or hand over checks. So we capitalized on those initial insights and early adopters and the younger generations back then. And we said, you know what, those are going to be our future customers. If they're young now and they're demanding this now, in a few years from now, this is going to be a requirement for us to exist. So when you're focused on customers, you're able to continue to lead. You're able to be one step ahead of everyone else. And that's sort of our strategy when it comes to competition. Let everyone do what they're doing. They're all successful in their own spaces. We need to be successful and we need to impress one person and one person only, and that is our customer. My message for people moving into Dubai, especially to those families that are moving new to Dubai, is we're here for you. And the property management industry is here for you. We're here to look after not just your asset as a property, but also your experience, your safety, your health and wellness within those properties. And there is a lot of comfort for investors coming into Dubai now, buying into ready properties or even buying into off-plan properties that would later on become ready, is you're in safe hands. We operate as an industry in very, very close synchronization with the government and with the various authorities that are there for the sole purpose of preserving investors' interests, their properties. Secondly, to manage their properties and their assets. And thirdly, to help them grow their property value. And when you look at the property management industry and how we're working very closely with the government, we're working to improve and enhance the city standards. And we do it in buildings. We do it starting with the apartments, to the building, to the street level, to the city level, and that's how we're operating as a whole. And under the patronage and leadership of the likes of His Excellency Mr. Marwan bin Ghleta and the Real Estate Regulatory Agency, Dubai Land Department, Dubai Development Authority, Dubai Municipality, and the property management industry as a whole, we're all working together to preserve investors' assets, improve them, and provide a really great living experience for the families and for the investors coming into Dubai.